making up some other things to be more realistic because the men are not acting up or being the way they're supposed to be. I just feel that way. Because how will you do that?
Well, I think men ain't men no more, and women ain't women no more. Because the way that it used to be just ain't the way it is. Like as a man, you have to have your emotions in check. You can't just fly off at the handle. Every which thing don't go your way.
Let me clear my throat. Microphone check. I'm delaying a little bit because I don't have a microphone. I had a microphone to hook up to this thing, and now I can't find it when it's time to do the show. That's life for you, man. That's life for you. Alright, gonna give some people some time to get in here. I know it's been a while, like always, but work with me here. Work with me. Work with me. Let me get the desktop working. And give people a little time to get in here before we start this thing. I wish they give you a timer over here. It'd be so much better. Can I get a timer? I could do that until it's time. All right, let's give a few minutes for people to get up in here. Get up in here. Don't look at the back of my hair. I cut my own hair nowadays. Poverty has struck indeed. Can't afford a $40 haircut. Just ain't happening. All right. Get up in here, because we're going to talk about the woman king, the woman king, the woman king, which is an absolute, what do they call it? Not just a contradiction, but what's the word for it? Oh my goodness. What is the word for it? There's no word for contradiction. What is another word for contradiction? Anyway, I'll figure that out later. By the time the show starts, I'll let you guys know what I'm trying to say. I'm up here trying to Google it. We got dichotomy, that's not what I'm talking about. Oxymoron. Oxymoron is what it is that I was trying to say. So, oxymoron. Oxymoron. So oxymoron because a king is the role of a male figure. A queen is the role of a female figure. By all definitions, no matter where you're from. So the woman king makes absolutely no sense. But there's a reason behind all of this. We're going to get into it tonight. And that's what tonight is about. We're going to discuss the woman king and why it's an agenda to hurt black women. Not white women, not Asian women, not Indian women, not any of that. But specifically set up to do a disservice to black women and black people in general. Let me look up this tribe that this movie was about. Dahomey tribe. I thought people was like calling, like saying Dahomey. I wonder if that's where that word comes from. Dahomey. Alright, gonna give it about 3 more minutes before we begin, so hold tight. In West Africa, that flourished in the 18th and 19th century, the region that is now the suburb. Oh my God. I wish Twitter was like, I wish you could StreamYard on, I'm up here saying Twitter. I wish you could StreamYard on Instagram. I would love to show you guys some of these images that pops up when you punch in the Dahomey tribe. It's a pretty small tribe compared to armies that they went against. Dahomey Amazons. I'm so tired. I have not had no rest since 5 a.m. Life is good, but life is not easy. Making progress, making progress, making progress. That's what life is all about, making progress. And that's what we're doing over here, making progress. You got short progress, you got long-term progress, and you got progress that it's just progress. Alright, so the Woman King, tribe of African women. Alright, we're going to get started, and hopefully some more heads join us, because this is kind of last minute. Welcome to the Marrying African Show, where we discuss relationships, dealing with marriages, romantic relationships, the relationships between our brothers and our sisters, on the continent and off the continent. So tonight we're going to discuss why the movie The Woman King is so destructive, and other movies like it. If you notice, it's not just this, but if you go to like Black Panther 2, they've made the star of the show a female to lead a whole make-believe African nation of men. Now, in The Woman King, the gist of the movie is showing that so-called powerful black women became so strong and so powerful that they no longer needed men, and they were able to adjust to life in that manner and fight off other nations of people, other tribes of people. And I just did a few clips in the movie, not something that I even waste my time watching really, but throughout the movie you see these women brutalizing men, easily defeating men in battle. And the whole movie was made to have this so-called feminist movement, but focus on the black women to further initiate the idea that's always permeated in the last 3 decades in Black America, and now finding itself to all of Africa, and not just Africa, but some other countries around the world. India, China is going through with their women because of this feminist movement. But the movies themselves are in particular focused on bringing in a lot of black people to this idea of feminism, that women don't need their men. You see, there's many ways that the enemy can fight you. And I'm just not talking about oppression, but I'm talking about, spirit. The Bible says it's not just flesh and blood, but there's a spiritual realm that we fight against. And if your enemy can get you to believe that you don't need the most precious thing, the very thing that is your strength and your foundation, then they know they can overtake you easily. And that is why when we talk about many other times, that I talk about like church and all, how it's filled with women, the men are no longer there. And with that, these pastors are able to run through these women in these churches. They're able to manipulate them for their money. They're able to manipulate them for sex. And it's not much of a fight because they have no foundation. They have no strength. And it's the same thing with this movie, The Woman King. It's getting you to believe, black women, that you are so strong and powerful, you don't need the most obvious, precious thing, which is a black man. You see, you got to understand, we live in a world that is anti-God on everything, on every front. Everything's anti-God. That's why the Bible says that man was made for the glory of God, but woman was made for the glory of man. Now, take that back real quick. Man was created for the glory of God, but yet woman was created for the glory of man. But when you take the glory of what was a woman's glory, which is man, out of the picture, what do you have? You have an empty vessel. And what happens with empty vessels? They get broken easily. You could move it this way, you can move it that way, because there's nothing holding it down. And it's the same way today, that we continue to deal with this issue with our people. And it's like we're not seeing the light. Why? I don't know. I mean, a lot of things come down to being blinded to the truth. That goes to the conversation about selection and predestination, which is beyond this conversation right here. But even in this movie, there was so much manipulation in it. It wasn't just the feminist stuff. It was to the point that they tried to make you believe that it wasn't your white Europeans that came over there to enslave our people, but it was our people forcing enslavement on them. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's as if that all the history that was passed down is supposed to be thrown away just because particular people with an agenda don't like the narrative. Now, this movie dealt with a tribe called the Dahomey tribe, which this location is located in what we know as Benin, right between Ghana and Nigeria. Now, they, with a few others, were very ruthless. They enslaved their enemies, other people of other tribes. And I don't want to make this into a history lesson, but I'll say this before we move forward. In those days, it was no different than the Roman Empire. In the days of the Roman Empire, what the Romans would do, they would go out to other nations that surrounded Rome at the time. All white people, all white people. Although these people of other nations were white just as they were, they conquered them and they enslaved them. And then through enslaving them, a lot of times they would get sold off. So the Romans were enslaving other people who are descendants from where they came from, enslaved them and sold them off. It happened in China. It happened in India. It happened in Germany. It happened in Scotland. This is no different. It happened in Africa. Tribes will fight against tribes. You get conquered. You become a slave. Even in biblical times, we want to go back down to the Hebrews, the Israelites. They were conquered and enslaved and sold off. They conquered other nations and enslaved them and sold off. This has been in human history since the beginning of time. So don't let anybody try to make you think that what happened in Africa was some anomaly that never happened before. Oh, how could these black people enslave their own people? The difference is, with enslavement, under those terms, it was a servitude a lot of time. Free or not free. You were never enslaved for the remainder of your life. You were enslaved for a specific amount of time. Most notably, most enslavements lasted about 7 years. So you would serve for 7 years, then be set free. But what happened with Africa on the west coast of Africa, you had people who were from a strange nation come. And when they began to trade, they realized that Africa had all the resources that they could ever want. Africa didn't need anything that they had. The one thing that they did have, which came from China, was guns. Now they didn't align them with a whole military caseload of guns. It wasn't like that. They knew what they were doing. But these were certain things that they found worthy of trade because they couldn't trade any resources because they had no resources. Africa had all the resources. So with that, with guns, horses, or certain, foods that they could have grown on their own, but they traded these things to tribes like the Homie and say, hey, we'll trade you this for your slaves. During that time, slavery was just the same all around the world. There was no such thing as chattel slavery at that time. There was no such thing of you taking the people, taking them to your land, rape, murder, and pillage them, and oppress them. That was unheard of, unspeakable before the Portuguese and the Europeans came to the west coast of Africa. So let nobody tell you that what happened in Africa was some anomaly. But at the same time, let no one tell you that this movie has anything worthy in it. This movie is a walking contradiction. In the movie, they made it so that the women were the, how should I say, that the women were the sympathetic ones, that they were against slavery. They were against enslaving other tribes of people and selling them off, which was an absolute lie. And these particular women called, that they refer to now as a woman king, they were more powerful than any other tribe or whatever. The reason that they were placed in the situation they was placed in because they were losing a lot of men to battle. So this group of women went to battle, and they were called to do that by their chiefs. And they got slaughtered. And they got slaughtered. Just like when any group of women would go out and fight against men, they would get slaughtered. But this movie does not depict that. It's no realism. There's nothing realistic about this movie. It's all propaganda. And it doesn't serve anyone any good. Because again, at the end of the day, they're trying to push an agenda for you to have this feeling, have this thought process that I can become a king. I'm my own king. And they do that specifically because as you see what's happening now, as you continue to separate the genders, the nation of that people become weaker and weaker and weaker. Any nation of people that no longer have their men there for them can be overtaken with little resistance. It's not women who put up the resistance, it's the men. Why do you think that you have so many single homes all around the world? And when you look at the prisons, all the men are coming from single parent homes. Because the foundation, the rock, the strength that is supposed to be is not there. And that's the men. This is another movie that is hell-bent on destroying you. And I'm glad that it only made $19 million out the box. Because it cost $50+ million to make this movie. And if you know anything about the film industry, you have to make 3 to 4, minimum 3, but approximately 4 to 5 times what you spent to make the movie to really make a profit. You got the cost of the movie, you got marketing, you got this, you got that, you got rights, you got all that stuff you got to do. So usually a movie have to cover around 5 times what it costs to make to see a profit. Now this movie made $19 million. It cost 50 plus million to make it, meaning this movie will have to make approximately $250 million just to bear a profit. How it works in Hollywood. It's not going to do that. And I'm glad that it's not going to do that. Because people rejected this. And they say, oh no, it's all black men. Black men are not the only ones going out to see movies. But a lot of our black women are waking up. And they're seeing what's happening. They're seeing the deception. And I'm so glad that this movie is symbolic to show that even now our black women are waking up. And they're catching on to the game. They're looking at it like, nah, there's no such thing as a woman king. I need my king. Just like the king is going to say, I need my queen. Now, I'm not into this, calling women queens. The only women that I could call a queen is those who are members of my own household. Because they become the queen of that palace. The queen of that building. They're not the queen of anything outside of that. Unless we run a nation, unless we're acknowledged by a nation or a village or a group or city. Other than that, the only queen that I know of is within my own home. Only king that my queens would know of is me. Because I'm the king of that particular castle, as they say. And that's the way it has to work. We can't get caught up in all these terminologies. You can't be a queen to anybody if you're not married to a man that you could call queen, king. You're not a king unless you have a foundation to offer to someone to make them your queen. You get people saying, what's up, king? These black women, hey, king, hey, king. These men haven't done anything. They haven't built anything. You can't just be welling about and walking about, hanging on the street corners and be a king. King of what? You haven't done anything. You haven't accomplished anything. You haven't built something where you could put a roof, where you could say, hey, I built this. This is your safe place. This is your castle that I've built for you. Now I want you to take you, engage with you, and make you my queen. And that happens through marriage. So unless you fulfill that, you're not a king or a queen. And not to say you can't become one, but we have to start having standards. And we've gotten to a point with our people that standards are so low. The bar is so low now. I was at the event at Temple University today, plus yesterday, and I'm talking to a particular guy from one of the senator's office. He made a lot of great points. And we discussed how it was in the 50s and 60s here in Black America, even with the churches and so forth. The particular word I brought to him was shame. When we didn't hold ourselves up to a certain standard, we felt shame because that shame was put on us by our family, by the members of our society, by our co-workers. Now, there's no shame in anything. You can have babies out of wedlock. There's no shame. You could desire to be a single parent. You know how many people out here have the desire to be a single parent? Oh, I don't want no man. I just want a baby. That's prevalent. That's prevalent all around now. Because there's no shame. When there's no shame, there are no standards. You can't have one without the other. When you have no standards, you have chaos. You have disorder. And that's what we see for the past 3 decades. We've seen so much disorder with us. But like I said, the way our people rejected this movie and didn't waste $1 to go see it is symbolic to our women saying, you know what? We've been doing it wrong. We've been doing it wrong, and that's why we are where we are. It's time to talk about this. It's time to really, really talk about this in an honest way, with an honest heart. Even though it's going to hurt, it's time to talk about it. It's time to get it right. If we don't get it right now, they're saying by 2060, black wealth will be at $0. What that means is you're going to be worthless in the political world, in the financial world, and every which way else. And that's happening because we lost the focus of family. This is why I preach. Like, I know, like I said, a lot of people don't, some people believe, some people don't. Cote d'Ivoire, we did a show about how Cote d'Ivoire has now gone back and, made legal polygamy. And I stay on this because, not that I have to do it, but I say for the upcoming generations. And the reason why I say that is because we got to start breaking up homes over things that come natural. Men are not made God didn't make men to be monogamous creatures. He just did it. It wasn't set up that way. That goes back to saying that man was made for God's glory and woman was made for man's glory. So that should tell you why it's dictated that way in the first place. Because women were not made for their own glory. They're there to glorify man, and man is there to glorify God. That's why even throughout all the scripture, even in the New Testament, talks about that the head of the church is Christ. Also, the head of man is Christ, but the head of a woman is man. It never says that the head of a woman is Christ. He only says that he's the head of man, but he says that he refers to man as being the head of woman. But let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. Let's hear from a woman's perspective, I guess. And we're gonna see.
I got the side view because they told me, got my homie work with me on this channel, YouTube now. He's like, do software, say, get a mic, hook it up. But the mic ain't come. I can't find it for the life of me. Now you see how it looks? Turn your camera.
Oh, okay. Like this.
There you go.
Why is it bent?
Huh?
Why is it bent? Why is it like this?
Because that's the way they want me to film from now on.
Oh, okay.
So they said film like this and they show me everything else why. So I'm just going to listen to those who know more than me.
Okay.
Oh, don't tell me you got the bonnet. The bonnet gang?
Yeah.
I thought you got out the gang.
Mm-mm.
You still living in the gang life?
It's better than a rapper on my head.
I thought she got out the gang life, man. She's still gang affiliated with the bonnet gang.
Yeah, I'm offering onions.
I thought once you initiated, you can only get out by death or no.
No, bad habits die hard.
I don't know. Anyway, what's up, Jen?
I'm fine.
All right.
Good.
So we're talking about The Woman King, the movie. And as I was saying that, first of all, it's an oxymoron for a woman to call herself a king. That don't even make sense. It makes no sense at all. But were you even taught about the Dahomey tribe that came out of Benin?
No.
Well, the reason that I'm here and I was born in America, along with all of my generation of people since 1619, was because of them and a few other tribes. The Dahomey tribe were the ones who captured other Africans, mainly from around Nigeria and Ghana, through battle. And when we were made slaves, Then that's when the Portuguese and the British and all of them came over, and it became by force because eventually the Dahomey tribe was enslaved. But the thing about them, this is how God works. They enslaved us, and we were passed over, and we became we're here, and we built this nation or country called America. Built off the backs and blood and sweat and tears of blacks who are known as Black Americans. That's fine, but the irony is this: the Dahomey tribe was not only enslaved; they was wiped completely out.
Well,
They have no descendants. You see how God works? But this movie starring Viola Davis is a movie to make people feel sympathetic to this particular tribe and make these particular women who was forced in battle because the majority of all their men were killed off. But they put a whole new spin on it that's not even realistic. It's showing like these women being so strong and courageous and just going about tribe to tribe and killing all these men with ease, which is just buffoonery all around the place. But unfortunately, there are still people who will go see this movie who have gone to see it, but not a lot. Not to the point that this movie is going to make money. I looked online. You can see, you will see comments by people, Black people, greatest movie ever. See, we watch things, we take it in, but we never really do the real research to figure out what is this movie trying to tell us? What is it trying to relate to us? And I don't know how to say her name. I don't even want to say her name wrong. It's the girl who played in Black Panther, Lutopia or whatever. Look, you know who I'm talking about? Huh?
yeah.
Lupita. What's her name?
I think it's Lupita. The dark one.
All right. She was originally, this script was worked. This whole movie was ready to be done back in 2017. Initially, they came to her with the script and wanted her to be the star of the movie. This is where I give her some big ups. I think she's from Kenya, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. Can't remember.
Yeah, this is where I give her some credit. She read the script. Now, this is back in 2017. She read the script. She actually went and visited Benin to learn more of the history of the Dahomey tribe. And when she realized the history of who they were, she said, "Another day in my life could I do such a thing." She said it was not in her to represent something like that. That's someone who loves her people. But you can always find others who will sell their people out quick, fast, and hurry for a buck. It happens every day, happens everywhere. But it goes to show that all this propaganda is put our way for a reason. People don't put $50 and $100 million into a project without trying to relay a message. Every movie, no matter what movie you're watching, is relaying a message to you. And you have to ask yourself, what message is this movie, The Woman King, trying to get across to me? Just by the title itself, what do you feel that it's trying to relate to you as a woman?
The title of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know. It's just not realistic. If I'm saying it in the African way, because it's just not realistic at all. Though I've not seen the movie, but I've heard of the name of the movie, but I was not moved to actually see it. Guess.
Yeah, but you never heard. See, this is what I'm saying. You don't even know the history. These people was fighting against your people, Nigeria too.
I don't know. I just know that the name doesn't sound realistic, and from the name you could tell it's a movie with history. But these days we don't know if the history being told it's a lie or it's true, and there's just so many things out there. I just didn't see it though, so I can't really say much, but the title itself isn't realistic at all.
The title is what?
Isn't realistic.
Is what?
Not realistic. Realistic, like
It's not reality.
unreal. Yeah, isn't real.
What do you think? You gotta have an idea. Like, I don't have to sit and watch the movie to know what it's about. I research what it's about. All I need to do is to research, and then I could go read about it. I could go read up on the feedback from writers. I did that. So that's why I say, okay, it doesn't take me to watch the movie in particular to know about it. So
Okay.
not watching the movie, and this is what the movie about. You get a bunch of women from this particular tribe. They go and murder a bunch of other tribes of men, and they show that they're more powerful and stronger than men, basically.
So there's no motive. You're just going to kill.
And it's not like they're carrying
How
AK.
possible
They're
is
not
that?
carrying around AK-47s like blah blah blah. They're running around with spears and swords and knives, and they're destroying other warrior men.
Wow.
Is any of this realistic?
It's just so funny. Like, I don't know. Are they trying to replay now or for more time? It can't even happen. The men are always stronger
That's what I'm
than the
saying.
women.
There's an agenda, and you have to realize what that is. The majority of all these movies, we know that. How often do we hear about black girl magic? What is that? And let me just make this clear. I love black women. I will only marry black women. That's me. I build families with black women. So, but I try to put things in perspective because I understand as a man without a woman, I have no foundation, true foundation to no legacy. Vice versa, with a woman, with no man, you have no true legacy or foundation. What I'm saying is, do you feel these type of movies are trying to promote to black women that it's not necessary or man is not needed?
Obviously, and it's wrong. We don't need this kind of movies or that kind of teaching. It's against the African culture because Africans, we value our men a lot. So making
Oh,
a female something that's the complete opposite of it, it's just somehow, I don't know.
oh, I was going to tell you this last night. I forgot. There's a story that happened over here. Two men, both Nigerian. One Nigerian shot to death another Nigerian in front of his 2-year-old son, then took off in his car with his 2-year-old son in a car and just abandoned the car with the child in it, and the child died from suffocation.
Oh,
A lot of Nigerian men over here in the U.S., they out of control. They out of control, man. But
I
that's just, you know me.
I just
I,
feel I think the morals are dropping, and the men that we used to know, the men that we heard of, the African men we saw in movies and stuff are not really relatable to the one we have now. So I feel in a way that's where some ladies are picking up some other things to be more realistic because the men are not acting up or being the way they're supposed to be. I just feel that way. Because how will you do that?
what I think men ain't men no more, and women ain't women no more. Because the way that it used to be just ain't the way it is. Like as a man, you have to have your emotions in check. You can't just fly off at the handle every which thing don't go your way. It's supposed to make you a man. You're supposed to teach that down to your woman, and your kids. And in return, you get productive, well-behaved, and members of society. But today it ain't that way because everybody's just doing their own thing. And I think that's where we get
Yeah,
lost a lot. Everybody want to do their own thing. They want to live their own life, live it their way. They live for themselves and they don't live for everybody else. I believe in,
true.
yeah, you live for yourself, but I believe in living for others. When you have a woman, you have your children, you live for them. So there's a certain standard and a certain way of life that you have to, there's a certain way you have to move in life because it's not all about you anymore. You agree?
Yeah, I do. There's this saying, I don't even know if it's an adage, that it's not one person that owns a child. You get
It's not
like,
what?
it's not one person, it's not the person that owns a child. Like if you give birth to a child, that child is not just yours. If someone else sees that child doing something wrong somewhere, the person has the right to correct that child. But things are changing and revolving right now that you can't even sit to correct somebody's child because even the parents in front of you would pressuring you not to do that. So I just think things are changing and people are having misplaced priority and simply being more personal without knowing that we're all creating to go out more to the world and still interact. So I think that's one of the reasons too.
Mm. Well, having a child is having a child, but raising it with the family is the thing that needs to be changed because these kids today are not being raised by families. They're being raised by one or the other, or grandmom or granddad or grandparent. Don't work that way. You don't come out with the right outcome. But sticking with the subject, can you be a king?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
If you took a bomb and threw it and blew up 10 men, would that make you a king?
No, that makes me a murderer.
So basically, there's no way to become a king for a woman. Oh
True?
my goodness, hold on.
There's no way.
As long as it took me to put her down, I just knew she's going to be down for at least 2 hours. She's been up all morning and all day. Hold on.
Okay.
Why are you up so fast? Huh? Say hi. Say hi to me.
Can
My little twin.
okay.
But yeah, so basically what I'm saying, man, this movie is straight trash. And if anybody want to see it, make sure you do so without spending your money. Go see it on some bootleg or something. Because, no, seriously, projects like this, we got to start making our voice known. And by the way we make our voice known is by completely not supporting it financially. And there's some other movies that came out that are like this, but you wouldn't even know of them. So I'm not going to get into them. But this is not the first, and this is not going to be the last movie like this. But again, it's going to, most men, we could look at it and be like, okay, we're not going to feed into this BS, but we need our women to step up and say the same thing. Like, we're not going to feed into this BS. We're not going to financially support something like this that is trying to push an agenda that we don't need our men. And that's why I want to see things change with our women. And like I said, this movie not making basically any money and it's losing money, it's going to be a loss. It's not going to make any profit. That is a good sign that our women are really, really taking notice and like, you know what? Got to put an end to all this.
True.
Mm.
Like I don't even okay, how, okay, I don't even know how to explain this, so I've just let it be.
You what?
I don't know how to explain. I have something to say, but I don't know how to put it
Talk
out
up, Jimmy.
there. I don't know the word. So, okay. So the idea of this movie is to make women believe that they can be or fend for them. Okay, yes, you can fend for yourself, but you're complete by I don't on
That
your own.
women can do it all by themselves, basically.
Yeah,
And
and
there was a lot of lesbian overtones in this movie too, as if these women were in relationships with each other.
that's obviously going to come on when there's no man in the picture.
You know what? They're embraces. But finally going to come off maybe next few weeks. Thank God. But what was I going to say? Oh,
Yeah.
now as I'm watching Netflix, weekends, Sundays, I just sit around and watch movies all day. So I'm watching a bunch of South African movies and another movie from Kenya last week. All these movies are now having lesbian or or man-on-man relationship. So it's not just Hollywood that's pushing this agenda in the U.S. and everywhere else. Now Africans are getting on board with it.
Yeah,
And
it's spreading.
hmm?
It's spreading. It's
Well, it's just another sign of the times that we in the last days. But
yeah, obviously.
the thing is, do you allow your children to come to this? Like, this is ridiculous. And to the point, a lot of this started with Obama, believe it or not, because remember, Obama was the one who wanted to put sanctions on Kenya and a lot of other African countries because they wouldn't accept legalizing the LGBT community.
Yeah.
This is why this is one of the many reasons. Let me shut up. Because being that the way that I'm moving and the people that I'm moving around, let me choose my words carefully. Not that I'm on a leash or anything, but I'm just going to leave it at that. That is one of the things that I think Obama felt black people in Africa about. I could say that much. I'm not going to back down from that.
Well, should I say the evil? I don't know. It's just spreading more.
Yeah, you can't watch a movie without it now.
Not all. It's not that popular here yet.
Well, I'm talking about here. Like you can't watch anything here without that. Even the cartoons. There was a video. There was a lady who made a TikTok video who was complaining about it. Now they're promoting this through cartoons for children.
Oh.
This is sick. It's sick stuff. You do what you do, but the pressure on everybody else, that's like saying, oh, you anti this, that, and the other. It's like, just because I disagree with it doesn't mean that I'm trying to oppress you or nothing. They say, let us be who we are, but at the same time, they want to force it on you. But when you force your beliefs on them, then there's a big problem. You're hating, you're bigot, you're this, that, and the other, whatever word they want to throw out there. I forget the word they use, homophobic or whatever. Homophobic. So I'm homophobic when I push back against you pushing it on me and my family. But if I push my beliefs on you and your family, then what? Then I'm wrong. So you're wrong no matter which way. But that's the world that we live in. And this is even more so that it's important to have strong men in our homes. Because as a man, there's no way that I'm letting this stuff come in my house. There's no way that I'm letting my children take this in. Whatever, when you turn 18, 20, whatever it is, whatever you do, you do. But your foundation is going to be this. And that's how I feel about life. I'm I'm going to be a man, continue to be a man that, for however many children that I have, all their foundation is going to remain the same.
Girl,
I'm
I
not going to
feel
force my beliefs. I'm going to tell you what they are and tell you why they are. But the foundation itself is this. This is what it is. This is where you come from. Just like you, when we was chatting, you were saying that, you know, you were raised a particular way. When that other stuff, you was like, I'm not the way I was raised. I could never do that. And that's how it should be. That's what we as parents should look forward to. Our children growing up and say, well, I was raised by my parents in this way. My beliefs are so strong that I could never turn and do something like that.
true. I feel they're not making it seem like they're forcing it on you. They're putting it in your faces till you get to believe that that's what you have to do. So it's a tricky way. It's all up in your face, all up till you believe it until you do it.
Well, but that's what it is right now, man. It's just all over the place. It's crazy. If it's not that, it's feminism. It's not that, it's something else. But right now, this movie is all about feminism. And if you know so, most of these feminist movies are made precisely for particular people, mostly black people. How many movies you see of Tyler Perry or BET movies that the woman is always the strong one holding things down? It's always the woman who's making the income, or who's the ruler of the house, or who fight off the enemy and defeat the enemy at the end of the movie. It always wound up being a woman. That happens in other movies with our counterparts too, but I'm just saying it's so prevalent with us. Like, you rarely see with a U.S. made movie where a black man is standing at the end and he's the savior for his family. It's all, even the movie Get Out was, what was that?
Oh,
Get Out, and there was another movie. What's the one that I'm thinking of? Us. Us. With the same girl, Lupita or whatever. Movie Us by, forget his name. Comedian.
I can't remember.
Yeah, and the guy who played her husband was from Black Panther. Mugabe or whatever it was. Mumba, whatever his name was in the movie. And in that movie, when an enemy came, when these white men came to a home, it wasn't even white men. That was, I'm getting the two movies mixed up. Us was when the people came to the house, they looked just like them. They were replicas of them.
Yeah, the double.
Yeah. But the man was a coward and the woman was the one with the strength. And I've seen a lot of Netflix, I've seen a lot of Prime Video. I got like every movie app that you can watch, and I shouldn't even have it like that. But no matter how many of these things that I put on, it's always a woman that they show us, a powerful one. The new movie with Queen, we just watched this, what was it, Friday or Thursday night? A new movie with Ludacris and Queen Latifah. I forget the title. It was on Netflix also. She was the strength of the whole family. Luda was under her. So the whole movie showed that she was the strong one and the man was the weak one. But when I'm saying that, this goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And it's programming. It's programming, it's pre-programming. It's programming you as an individual, an adult, but it's also pre-programming our younger ones to believe that this is the way that it's supposed to be. So then you get these women growing up thinking that they're supposed to be independent and do it all by themselves. And then when they find out how hard life is, it's too late. How many times have we talked about that?
Mental breakdown.
Yeah. See, the thing is, when a woman don't get it right early on, she suffers the rest of her life. A man can get it wrong time and time and time and time again and still have more time to get it right.
True.
That's why it's even more so that all this stuff is directed towards women for a reason. For a reason. You realize that we've been through it all in this country. We've been through it all. When you realize that you can't destroy the man no matter what, the next best thing you do is separate them from their woman. Divide and conquer. one of the oldest ways of fighting a war since the beginning of time. Hey, hey, hey. All right, we about to go eat. All right. See? Well, we're going to cut it short. It's time for me to make her food so she can eat.
Okay.
Then take you for a drive. Right? When she start doing that, that means she's hungry. Look. When she start biting her shirt, when she start doing that, that means she's trying to tell me to feed her. All right, I'm about to feed you. All right. All right, Jenny.
Okay.
We'll talk in a minute. All right?
Okay.
All right, hang up.
Oh, should I go?
Yeah, go. I'll get you in a second. So, that's just my take on this movie called The Woman King. So, what do you guys think? You can drop a comment if you like. Let me know. And also, let me know if you've seen this movie or not. And if you're going to go see it. And if you have seen it, definitely drop a comment and let me know exactly what you thought about the movie. With that said, thank you guys for tuning in. Last minute show. Still got a good number of people in here. Appreciate that. Try to be more consistent these days. Now that I'll be flying back to Ghana and Nigeria in just a matter of weeks. Ball out in Nigeria and just live the family life in Ghana. I gotta teach y'all about that. But yeah, we be headed to Ghana soon, and head back over to Nigeria, do some shows over there, do some live shows. And if you guys watching, hit me up, message me. If you're going to be in a Accra region or you're going to be in the Lagos region, let me know so I can invite you over to where we're going to be. Going through the party life, live it up, drink it up, eat it up, and it's all free, man. It's all free. It's all on me. So definitely do that. If you guys going to be in the area in December and January, and with that said, man, thank you guys for joining the show. Make sure you go over to YouTube, hit up Punching Mary in Africa or Mary in Ghana. I should pop right up and help the channel out over there. I know you guys support me over here on Instagram, and I love that and appreciate it. But help the channel out on YouTube by going over there and subscribing and hitting the like button on a couple of videos that you enjoy watching. All right, so with that said, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to feed the baby, feed the princess, not the queen, but the princess. So I'm going to feed the princess and see you guys. I actually think I'm coming on here on Monday and Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. Monday, yeah. I'm doing Monday and Tuesday, but we're going to do an afternoon show. So I'm going to do a live on Monday and Tuesday, see how it goes. Because I might just start doing a live every day, during afternoon and on Friday nights or Saturday nights. So, guys, tune in Monday afternoon. Check here for the time that it's going to be. And if you guys show up, then I do like every day in the afternoon. So we'll go from there. All right. Peace out. Love you guys. Stay strong. Stay blessed. And never let nobody tell you that you can't make it in this world. And remember, it's not just to make it in this world, but we're here to prepare.